Well, you return as I start to ask myself a very important question. Have I encountered yet another glitch, or are my players just stupid? We've got people throwing their toys out the pram for two completely different reasons that don't make sense. And today, despite all of that backdrop, we've got to try and find a win in a Europa League qualifier and against one of the toughest opposition domestically. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 40 of the Coach's Head with me, Daniel. We are back at our third club of the save in Dinamo Zagreb. We're struggling to deal with the European hangover on Sundays. We've got injuries that are causing us problems in key areas. And we just don't look like a tight-knit side, I'll be honest with you. We're currently relying on a transfer-listed old boy in Days Maeda to save the day. So if you're looking forward to seeing if we can do it without him tonight, as he's not registered for the Europa League squad, and please do put a thumbs up on the video. We'll also go away to Osijek after 2 games without a win in the league. But the first leg of this game against Sturm Graz is the one thing that has gone well since the last episode. If we have a look at the schedule to see how we've been getting on, we got a 2-0 victory at home to the Austrian side, with Timmy Cooper getting his first for the club and Fode Fofana scoring a second late on. We almost conceded in that game, but Ted Kurd was to the rescue. And to be fair, despite the Beto injury, I was happy with that outcome. The following game, though, not so much. Juan Medina saved us in the 94th minute as we fell from 1-0 up against Istra at home. A 2-2 draw. We looked leggy, we looked poor. I had to rotate a bit, but the ones who did play didn't contribute. The ones who came in were pretty awful. It just left us in a really difficult position. So a 2-2 draw, about the best we could have hoped for. But it is proving to be a much tighter league, this. A lot more sides that are evenly matched. Probably we've played the bottom 2 already who are both poor. A lot of those sides in the top 7 or 8 are all competitive, and that's going to make this a far more interesting season, especially when we've got Thursday night football, and especially when the squad is looking, well, unbalanced and unhappy to say the least. Because since you were last here, if we go to the transfer centre, the big news was a departure of a player that forced his way out of the club. In addition to loans out for players who featured in the last episode, so Charle and Kuljanak, the one that has left permanently and forced his way out is Stefan Krajina. He goes to Cremonese for a couple of £1 million with a sell-on clause as well. A bit of a shame because he was one of the homegrown players that could have contributed to the squad, but we've got a lot of wingers who are good. So I'm not devastated. I'm a little disappointed. The thing that's really got me though, if we go to the dynamics, and the thing that's really left me frustrated, and it's not mentioned here actually, I don't know why, there's plenty of other complaints, but we've got players who were unhappy when we rejected the first bid for him, the director of football that is, and said, why aren't you letting him go? You've got to give him the opportunity. And then 3 of the same players, the same group from that one who complained that we hadn't accepted the first offer, when the director of football later did accept one and then he left the club, 3 of the players from that very same group came to us and said, why on earth have you sold him? We're going to be so much weaker now. And players like Christoph Clara and Juan Medina are now unhappy because of that. It just doesn't make sense. You can't say, why have you not accepted an offer? And then, why have you accepted an offer within a week? Think sensibly, at least stick to your point for a week. Have a little bit of backbone. So we're left with a little bit of frustration there. We are also waiting nervously to find out what happens to our star man, because Fuad has had an offer accepted again, about £9 million now from Dusseldorf and from Lille, both with sell-on clauses. But if we lose him, we're going to have to reconfigure a bit because we might be in big trouble. We have, though, got a potential in to come and replace them. The one offer that's gone in is a loan one for Yasin Ayari, and he is a pretty good midfielder. So won't naturally replace him. We're going to have to play a bit more football. We're going to have to stop relying on aerial threat. But he's a good player, so he'll certainly help us out. A Swedish international. Let's hope he agrees to come in. For now, though, let's go and get through to the first of 2 games today. We've got 2 big matches and we've got deadline day, so we need to crack on with the action. We're being recommended not to play Timmy Cooper up front, and I'm going to go a little more cautious when we get into this. I'm going to drop Simic to a support duty, Tagzef as well. But overall, I don't want to just sit there and wait to be beaten, because we've proven if we come under defensive pressure, we can't really cope with it. So I want to try and be on the front foot. It is Ted Kurd in goal with Veladsen and Simic the fullbacks, by Shell and a now unhappy Clara as centre half. Diambu, the potentially departing Fuad, and Tagzef the midfield three, with the returning Hugo Gonzalez, Malaysia and Cooper, the three that we're relying on up top. We have got quality on the bench, but there's a lot of heavy match loads already, and Beto has not made it. So there's not really a natural striker on the bench other than Dunic, who is not great, but he's homegrown at least. Well, into the game we go. We know the quality that Sturm Graz have got. Sekou Koita up front, Max Johnston, the Scottish right back, among many good players in their ranks. But we're going to say to the boys, I want you to prove a point. We need to try and get Clara motivated. He says he's inspired. Let's hope he responds. I'm going to drop Simic to a support duty just for this game. I'm going to drop Tagzef to a support duty just for this game. We're going to try not to get caught out in the midfield quite so much. We've got a quick defence, so I'm not worrying about not getting caught in behind. By Shell's relatively quick, both fullbacks are as well. So I don't know if we want to drop off more. No, I'm not going to. Let's go and get into the first half. We're 2 up. We played well in the first leg. But ultimately, if it wasn't for Ted Kurd, it probably would have been at least 2-1. And that would have left us as underdogs tonight. Anthony Taylor, the English referee here. Sturm Graz definitely got to be the aggressors. And I can't just relax because we've conceded goals in clusters so much this season. And we saw it even at the weekend against Istra. From 1 up, we're letting 2 fairly quick goals. So even if it's 0-0 at half-time, I just can't get excited. 25 gone, no shots for either side. So far, I'll take it, but I'm still not confident. Well, 5 minutes to the break. It's a Sturm Graz corner. We've done so much work on set pieces, but my God, we can't defend them. It's back to Prass. It's a good save by Kurd. I've never managed a side in this year's FM that are worse defending set pieces. And you consider we've got 5 or 6 over 6 footers in there. We just can't defend them. I don't know what it is. We've got all the best headers marking in the right areas. It's just not happening for us. But at half time, it's 0-0. There's not been many shots on goal, and we've largely restricted them. I'm going to say you're doing well. Keep it going. Keep yourselves positive. And please don't concede from the kickoff, which we're going straight from. Veladsen gets it wide to Gonzalez, who we've missed, but not when he's playing passes like that. But we do win it back in midfield. Now Cooper can run forward. He's got a bit of magic in him. Finds Fuad, the skipper. Might be off next week. That could have been his parting gift. If we'd scored there at 3 up, I might have been confident we were going through. As it is, he misses the opportunity. But will he still be here against Osijek at the weekend? That's the big question. He'll be a huge miss if he goes. He's mainly the goal threat at the minute. As the ball's cleared away by Sturm Graz, they're keeping possession at the back. No sign of panic from them just yet. You can see they're waiting, they're probing, they're looking for that opportunity. And I know against our defence, there's probably going to be spaces to find it. As Max Johnston goes forward down the right to Stens. Good block by the fullback Simic, but it's still back in possession for the host. Well intercepted by Shell. Simic forced backwards. Can we work out? Not like that. Don't just chip the ball to them 30 yards out. There are so many defensive mistakes in this team. Honestly, I've never seen anything like it. Yes, we're winning games, but we're not looking convincing. I don't really know how we're top of the table after the last 2 matches. And I don't know why we're so poor from set pieces. We had that one away, but it's still lively. It's still a threat. And thankfully, that shot is wayward. If they waited for their opportunity, they might have had better. Because you can see they're starting to dominate the game. Maybe that's a good omen for us. I don't know, because we've had 3 or 4 games where we've dominated and then just thrown it away. Maybe being on the back foot is a good sign. I don't know. The Steiner breaks forward. For me, looks like we're just waiting to be beat as it comes into the box. By Shell with a really good block there, to be fair. But it's another corner. And you've seen we don't defend them well. What can we do out here? Mickelbust will put the ball in to the front post. Simic heads away. And Koita will chase it downfield. Again, able to get in. Malaysia does well. I'm thinking about changes. I'm thinking I've got to take the 2 wingers off. Gonzalez back from injury. Malaysia not playing well at all. I think we're going to chuck on Medina. Was he available on the right? He was. He'll come on for Gonzalez. Winger on attack is fine. And then I'll bring on Fofana on the left-hand side. And he can be an inverted on attack as well. Maybe even on support. Just give us a slightly different option. Drift into that number 10. I'm looking at Fuad in midfield who's knackered, but I don't want to risk it yet. I'm going to take Diambu off on a yellow card. Suslov on. Tazgev dropping a little deeper. And I think we might leave it at those 3 for now. Don't want to overdo it. At the weekend, we can rotate if we need to. We're losing league games anyway. Let's just make sure we get this job done because we're getting hammered. We should be 2-0 down according to the stats. But at the moment, we're clinging on in there. And we're 15 minutes from the Europa League group stage, which would be a good result. Johnston throws in from the right to Stens. Back to Johnston again. Stens at the byline. This is where it might go wrong. Because if you concede one, we tend to collapse. Vladson's lost out at the back post. We're really missing Araujo. That injury on his debut was so unfair on us. I'm going to bring on Puklin there now because Vladson's booked. He's short. He's not great. And then the other sub. I mean, it should be one of the midfielders, but I've not got much that improves us there. And I don't just want to bring on Dross for the sake of it. The only players that are competitive left on the bench, really, are Rivera and Bjorkan. And both of them are defenders. And I'm not sure they improve us at this stage. Clara could maybe come off. But do I want to mess with a back four? I think I'm going to be forced to. Aver will come on for Clara. There are 5 minutes to go. And if we somehow get through this tie, it's undeserved as Tagzev corner into the back post. Aver 6'6", ducking out the way. Medina gets it on the left though. Oh, he's just run to a blind alley. It looks really disjointed. I'm trying to give it time because, look, we're playing a different style. There's a big turnover of players. I feel like I need to wait till about October to see the best of this team. But at the moment, there are a number of big alarm bells going off as Puklin works down the right. As it stands, we might still be nicking through though. Medina switch towards Fofana. It's poor. Simic nicks in though. Chance to cross. Gets to the byline. Into the box towards Cooper. Back to Suslov. Fuad the skipper. There's his parting gift. If you leave now, Fuad, you can go with a clear conscience. God knows what we're going to do without you. But you have just scored the rocket that will send us into the Europa League group stage. Big for the club coefficient-wise and financially. And you know what? Fair play to you. Aver's headed the corner over. But while he's been linked with lots of clubs, and I'm sure he wants that big move, he's been absolutely brilliant. He's kept performing, and he's not thrown his toys out the pram, which can't be said for other players in the squad. As Suslov on the left puts the cross in to the back post towards Cooper. That's where we missed the 6'4" Beto, isn't it? Not quite the same having Cooper in there. As they work down the right, we might still lose on the night. I mean, he's just gone the whole length of the pitch without a challenge. Surely Byshell knows he's got to come over and at least close the angle. It's a 1-1 draw. It's a good result. It's a terrible performance. It's the worst we've played all year. But we found a way. We've won the first leg. We've got through. We'll see who we draw in the Europa League group phase. And then we'll get through to the big game at Osijek, which, if we play like that, we'll get beaten in. Let's have a look at the fixtures then. 2.91 million and a little bit for the playoff as well. The Amber is going to be banned for the first game after picking up 3 yellows in qualifying. And there he goes. Fuad has left immediately after the match. 5 million goes into the transfer budget up front. It's 9 million up front, 2.5 after appearances, and a profit sell on as well. But what a player, what a parting gift. He did what he could for us. That's what I have to give him. But after this weekend, depending on deadline day, we might now have to change shape. The fixtures are as follows. Oh, that does not look good. Sarajevo away may be winnable. Turkish side at home may be winnable. The rest of that looks pretty tricky to say the least. I'm not sure we're getting through there. We can sneak 24th. I consider that a bonus. But with the league fixtures as well, I don't even know how we're going to juggle it. So we're going to be back in a moment to face Osijek. And in the next episode will be Lazio, deadline day, and Hajduk Split. I mean, that's a pretty big one as well, isn't it? Well, it's fitness test time as another Sunday dawns and another European hangover may well be on the way. We also start a new era without our skip up for the first time. What impact is that going to have, particularly when he's been our main goal threat in the league this season? We go away to Osijek, who could leapfrog us in a table with a victory here. They've got the better goal difference. They look the better team. This could be the start of a very tough spell for us. I think we found ourselves a bigger challenge here than we thought. Let's go and have a look at the team selection and see who's fit of the players that were here in midweek. Simic is not. Tagzeth is not, which is a big problem when we've already lost our centre midfielders. We're also going to bring in... Suslov will definitely play as the advanced playmaker. We can work that one out. We're going to take out Malaysia. He's going to be replaced by Medina. And we'll switch over Hugo Gonzalez. At left back, we're going to bring in the Hugo Moraes signing. He is the player who was ineligible in Europe. and we've got to find another one in midfield. That's a bit of an issue for us at the moment. Who on earth do we play there? I genuinely don't know the answer. I feel like Tagzef may have to start, or we may have to find a way around it. How fit are you? He's played 300 minutes. That's pushing it. Let me go and work this out. This is going to take a moment. Well, I must admit, this is becoming quite problematic now. We're looking light in certain areas. We're having to bring in youth players, and we're just hoping that they'll rise to the occasion. I brought Fofana in on the left for Gonzalez, who didn't look match fit. He's going to come off the bench today. And I've had to put Salkic in the middle because he's about the only other player who's available. So that means this is the 11. Looking for midweek, we've been forced to drop out Simic and Tagzef. That's for Suslov and Moraes. Salkic comes in for Fuad, who departs. That's a huge downgrade. Both wingers have changed with Medina and Fofana coming in. So 5 changes in all as we head to Osijek. Have they had midweek European football? They have. They drew 1-1 and went out in a Conference League. So they've got no group stages. That might be a problem for the coefficient here, but more so for us in the title race because they'll be fresh every weekend. Well, here we are with 4 changes made, and it is a very important game for us because avoiding defeat would be a nice statement of intent. Staying top of the table would be important. I just feel without a few signings before the end of the window, we could be in a bit of trouble. I'm going to change Sulkic to a centre mid on attack here. I just feel like it gives us a chance. There's a lot of attacking duties, I know. Moraes maybe wants to go to a support one. I just want to focus that play through the middle a bit more. See if we can get on the front foot. Going to go through the tunnel interview and into the first half. Away to Osijek. Can we get the job done? They didn't have the best start, but they're finding form when it matters. Well, early doors is a corner for the host. We've not defended these well all season so far. And now we've given away a penalty. Oh, what can we do? I've got to be honest with you here. I've set up the set pieces myself in a way that I've had glorious success at other clubs. I know we've lost a 6'4" centre midfielder now. We've lost a 6'4" striker to injury. But this is just a joke. We're training it 2 or 3 extra sessions a week just to defend set pieces. We've got away with one there from the penalty shout. I don't know what to do. I've never seen anything like it. Hopefully it will settle down after a couple of months in charge. And crucially, maybe these lads will sort their morale out when the transfer window shuts. As Vladson's got a throw on the right at the other end. Plays a 1-2 with Sulkic. Medina into Cooper. He is starting to look better. Moraes, though, gives it away. It's a square pass. You've got so much time under no pressure. And now you've lost the tackle. That's your bread and butter. Weichel wins the challenge himself. Ah, Moraes, you're complaining you're not in the Europa League squad. At least show me why you should be in the squad at all. Because you have almost cost us a goal there. And from a position where we should have got a chance on goal, we ended up having our own woodwork hit. Really not good enough. I'm not enjoying this early on, I think you can tell. I don't know whether because Fuad's left we need to change tactic. But certainly, we need to sort something out because this isn't good enough. We won't win consistently like this. As Moraes on the left-hand side, oh my God. I'm taking him off. I'm seeing this highlight out and I'm taking him off. I've had enough. He's then got caught out wide. He's then been caught out. What are you doing? If this goal stands, honestly, it's going to stand, isn't it? He's coming off. 22 minutes. I'm doing a Jose. You're supposed to be a perfectly capable defender. The fact that you're complaining about things after 3 weeks at the club when you're playing like that, get out of here. Quarter of the game gone. First sub made in frustration. The experienced Bjorkan is on and we're behind. And now we're down to 3rd in the table, which is exactly why our predecessor got sacked. As here comes Cooper. What are you doing all the way back there? Get up the pitch. Sulkic carries it forward to Medina. On the right-hand side, back to Clara. I know we're going aggressive in midfield, but I'm trying to push them back. We're trying to get runners in behind, which at the moment isn't working. As Vladson gets to the byline. Chance to cross, but finds Medina. He does deliver. Fofana's up. Heads over the bar. Better football. Still no final product. Half an hour gone. No shot on target either. Well, half time, no shot on target. I mean, we've only given one up, and all of the chances we lost in that half came from the left back who we took off. I've also got anxiety at right back with Vladson, and it's important to remember our best right back got injured on his debut. I'm just trying to work out how I can reconfigure midfield. I know it doesn't work with 2 attacking duties, but I've got nobody else who can offer an alternative. Do I maybe put him as a deep lier on support and then change the role of Diambu? Put him as a defensive mid stepping in? Let's give that a go instead. We're tweaking tactically. I'm trying not to make wholesale changes. I've got to find a solution here because at the moment, we're offering nothing. Well, 10 minutes gone in the second half. The best my assistant can suggest is play for set pieces as Bjorkan works down the left to Fofana. Can we get in behind? Here is the experienced Croatian fullback. To the byline he goes. Director of Football's tried to replace him, but Moraes is not the answer as the ball's up to Medina at the back post. Suslov with the assist, and that is a huge goal. If we can just plod along and pick up points while we're playing like this, we'll get our rewards later in the season. It is 1-1. It's probably deserved based on our start to the second half, but you wouldn't bet against us conceding again, would you? So let's not get too excited just yet as we're 20 to go. Gonzalez is going to come on for Fofana. Super sub Maeda is coming on for Timmy Cooper. There's tired legs at the back, really tired legs. Who can I put right back? Puklin on for Villadsen. Might even go defensive duty for him. I just think, or maybe even a fullback on support, just give us a little bit more solidity. These two are naturally more defensive. So actually, we'll go wing backs on defensive duties. Just try and make sure we get a point because to be honest, that's a good result here. Ideally, I'd want Sulkic to be the last sub. I think maybe Tagzev has to do 20, doesn't he? Sulkic off, Tagzev on. Let's get the senior players in here. Hopefully, do enough of the job for us. Though having said that, we're at the other end defending a corner. Oh, again! I've got a player on the near post and I've got a player covering the near post zone. Neither of them were there. Where was the player on the near post? He just wasn't there. Oh, I've never had a more infuriating start at a club, honestly. Toys out the pram, ignoring instructions. I can see why they were underperforming last year. Let me put it that way. We're going into stoppage time, 5 minutes of it. We've gone attacking, we're chasing the game. We don't look like scoring. We need a big finish to the window or a big change tactically. I didn't want to play 4-3-3 to start with. I'm looking at it now, because we've lost Fuad, and that's the only reason I was playing centre mids. Could I go 4-2-3-1 with Diambu and Tagzev deeper and then Suslov in the 10? I think I'm going to commit to that change because this just isn't good enough. And we've not got enough defensive protection in holding midfield. We've not got enough support for the attacking and number 10 role. So I think that might be the solution to both because the player we were trying to work around is no longer here. And we need to do it before the damage gets greater. Brad's thankfully lost, but this table is tight. 5 points separating the top 6. Osijek are now top of the table. And Istra are closing in as well, who we drew to last week. That's 3 league games without a victory. Concerning times at Dinamo Zagreb. Puklin's about to get a pay rise. Our money's going away without even buying players. We could do with a Yari coming in. Thinking about if he joins, he'd be good in that number 10 role as well. Could then cover both wide areas and holding mid. We do need a few more. The positive, of course, is that the director of football has got longer to work than we thought because deadline day here is not until the 9th of September. That is the same day as our Lazio game, the first one in Europa League group phase. And that is what we're going to be back for next time with a new tactic, the 4-2-3-1. We're going to try and make a success of it. If you enjoyed this one, though, a very frustrating day, but we did make the Europa League groups, which is a positive. And please do put a thumbs up on it. Let me know if you agree with my decision now Fuad's left to change tactic as well. Or do you think I'm being impatient or just being frustrated? I probably need to take a look at set pieces too, because what we've set up and what's worked everywhere else clearly isn't going to work for this club. If you want to stay up to date and see if we can find a more positive outcome soon, then please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back in a couple of days' time as hopefully my blood has stopped boiling and we've got some better news in the transfer window. We'll also see if our new tactic works at home to Zibenic before we go on a tough trip to Italy. I hope you'll come and join me to see how that goes. But in the meantime, we are back tomorrow with Southend United for our 15-year bookmark before a transfer special a couple of days later. We'll also have this one in 2 days' time, and there are links in the eye above to the Twitch channel, the football podcast, and so much more. Thank you so much for getting involved. Your support is massively appreciated. We've got tough Europa League fixtures on the way. We'll see the first of them alongside deadline day next time.